Okay folks, wee quick one for you today. We're going to talk about hydrangeas and overwintering the hydrangeas, because since I started posting photos of my hydrangeas in the greenhouse, you guys have been asking for weeks now about it, saying, do we have to move them indoors? So I'm going to chat to you. I've got two types of hydrangea in my garden, mopheads and paniculata. I used to also have lace caps, but they died last winter, which is why I'm so paranoid now. So first things first then, into the greenhouse through the bubble wrap. Okay, so how many of you guys have been with me long enough to know that when I say just the quick one today, it's probably still going to be half an hour, let's be honest. Right, I'm going to try my best, right? I'm going to try and keep this under 10 minutes, so stop waffling, Eli. This is my mophead hydrangea. So is this, but this one's smaller, so it's easier for me to show you guys. Now, basically, I'm going to use photos. Right, so I'm going to put you down there, little guy. The first thing you need to know before we talk about overwintering our hydrangeas is what type of hydrangea you've got, because you treat them differently, okay? So, mophead, you can tell it's a mophead because it's got this ball of blooms, okay? Same there, you can see, ball of blooms. You'll get different types of blooms, but it's that shape, okay? Now, the other big leaf type you get is called the lace cap, okay? It's the same type of hydrangea as this, so you overwinter it in the same way. I don't have any here to show you, but I had some last year, the year before, so I can show you the old photos of that kind of stuff. But unlike this one, which has this nice, neat ball as the bloom, the lace cap has the flowers, lovely larger flowers in a circle around the outside and the smaller flowers on the inside. So it's called lace cap because it looks like the old-fashioned ladies' lace caps that they used to wear back in the day. Okay, now the other hydrangea I've got is called paniculata, and I'll take you outside and show you that one in a second. And there's your hint, the fact that it's outside means you treat them differently. Okay, so now that we know how to identify these two types, okay, I'll tell you why I'm treating them differently. Now, firstly, you do not have to bring these guys into a greenhouse. I've chosen to do this, but you don't have to do it, okay? The thing that you do want to think about is what the weather and the climate and everything is like in your garden. I'm bringing them in here to protect them from our frosts because we get quite a harsh frost. And the reason I'm wanting to do that is because these guys bloom on old wood. So if those old stems get damaged by the frost, those buds that are on there can get damaged, and that's next year's flowers getting killed off before it's even had a chance to go. So that's what I'm trying to protect it from at the moment. Now, you don't have to bring it into the greenhouse to do that. You could just wrap it in the garden. Most commonly, people actually wrap it in fleece. That's the most common way. I've brought them in because I did do that for a few years, and whether my fleece was substandard, I didn't do it properly, for whatever reason, my hydrangeas still got really badly damaged. And this guy in particular, I had to cut him right back, and it took a couple of years for him to come back. As I said, my lace caps actually got killed off during the Beast of the East. So I'm a bit paranoid, okay? So you don't have to bring them into a greenhouse. You just have to do something to protect them from frost, and that can just be to wrap them in fleece. And remember, if they're in pots, wrap the pots as well, because you want to protect those roots. If it's in a pot rather than in the ground, the roots are much more susceptible to temperature, so wrap the whole pot, not just the top of the plant, okay? Now, I'm trying to see, the other thing you might think about is the flowers. You can see, and I've shown you this in other sort of updates, and there's pictures in the blog, but you can see I've got all these brown, dried up, dead flowers on here, and I've not taken them off, okay? Especially if you're leaving it out in the garden, it's good to leave these flowers on because it gives you some sort of frost protection for the buds that are underneath. You can come and trim these back in spring. You can trim the old flower heads off and trim it back to a strong bud. But if you leave them on for just now, that's an extra bonus of frost protection, okay? Now, this is a scary thing. It is actually this simple. It's no big drama. If you've got lace caps or mopheads, you want to protect them from frost. You don't have to bring them into the greenhouse, but if you want to bring them indoors, here is an important thing. Do not take them in somewhere heated, okay? So not in a heated greenhouse, not into a heated conservatory, that type of thing. Unheated greenhouse or maybe an unheated garage. That's what you want to do, because you do want these guys to go dormant over winter. That's how they prepare themselves for the next season. So that's a good thing. So I'll put this little guy back. So I'm putting him back. I'm going to take you outside and show you our paniculata. We've got a limelight, okay? Now, I'm just going to warn you, it looks awful, but it's okay. Outside. Okay, so I warned you, don't freak. This guy looks awful at the minute, but it is okay. The paniculata, the way you identify these guys is, rather than the nice round ball bloom, it's much more like a cone shape, okay? Now, there is another difference between these two I'll tell you about at the end, okay? Because it's going to lead to another video. But for just now, all you need to know is to identify it. It's this nice cone-shaped flower, not the round flowers, okay? The difference between these and why I'm treating it differently is these guys bloom on new wood. So you'll see this. It's right at the end of the stem there, and it blooms on new wood. So that means he's getting left out here over winter. Again, I'm going to leave the old flowers on him. It looks awful, but, you know, that's the way it goes. All the leaves will fall off this, the same as with the mopheads and the lace caps. But in spring, I will actually give this guy quite a hard prune to encourage new growth, and that new growth will be where the blooms form. So that's why I can risk leaving him out in the frost. What I will do though is I will mulch the top layer of this pot to protect the base of the plant, and I'll wrap the pot just to protect it from the colds, but I'm not worrying so much about the stems the way I do with that one. So that is very, very quickly overwintering your hydrangeas. Now, coming up, this is one we're going to do over a long period of time, but another difference between these two, the mophead hydrangeas, as you may know, you get them in blues and pinks. But did you know that you don't buy a blue or a pink plant? You determine what colour that plant is. When you plant them, it's the pH of the soil that determines whether it's a pink flower or a blue flower. So you can actually control it, especially if it's in a pot. The paniculatas, however, you can't do that with them. These guys come usually in sort of whites with tinges of pink, or this one is a kind of lime green tinge. But that's one for the future, so we're going to have an experiment next year. I'm going to change the colour in one of my hydrangeas over the course of the season with you guys, so look out for that. But there you go, very, very quickly. Oh, I hope I made it in the under the 10-minute mark. That is overwintering your hydrangeas. Right, I'm going back indoors now. See you guys. That was me doing the whole taking stills for the thumbnail at the end of this. I might post this in at the end just as a funny so you can see the stuff that doesn't end up on the video.